thought we were talking about boobs.
How are boobs divisive?
They spread apart sometimes. And welcome to the Barely Coherent Podcast. I'm the Grizz, and your host, originally cast as Ahsoka Tano until, the part was recast, Sonny B, Billy Weisinger.
What's up, man? It's definitely because of the strikes going on that I lost my role, question mark.
Yeah, I mean, it really sucks that they gave it to Rosario Dawson instead of you. I thought you had it in the bag, buddy.
They said something along the lines of, you have no acting experience, you look nothing like the character. Also, how did you get in here? So, I think it just wasn't meant to be.
Typical Hollywood politics, man. What can you do?
I don't like real politics, so, It's good to be back. Well, we have today episode 1 of season 2. Those were air quotes for our audio listeners. Jesus. So we are going to kick it off today with, a checkup on how things have been. I feel like it's been months since we last did this thing. So, what's been going on with you? Grizz?
I am slowly continuing along in my semi-professional beer league hockey quest. Still learning to ice skate, and I think in the next couple months I'll be good to buy hockey gear so I can learn how to actually play the sport of hockey.
We can finally commit.
Yeah. So I can skate backwards, I can skate forwards, I can stop. I can go.
That's good.
Yeah,
these are all good things, man.
Yeah,
these are all good things.
So slowly improving, and on top of that, I am planning a mini adventure bike trip next month, up to the mountains of North Kakalaka.
Is that a real place? I don't know what that means.
North Carolina. That's one of the ways of saying the Carolinas. Kakalaka's.
No, I mean, yeah, it sounds like it would be true.
So I'm going to go. There's a couple places I want to check out as a mini prep trip to check everything before my big Alaska adventure next year. And on top of all of that, unplanned, kind of just happened, but I got a new dog, a puppy.
Oh, that was almost sound like a pregnancy announcement.
It might as well be. It's a single dude with a puppy. His name is Hollywood Hank. He's a curly-haired golden retriever who is napping at the front door right now because he's pissed we haven't gone to the park yet today. And most of the time, he is great and awesome.
That's good. Everybody loves a puppy until they fucking don't.
Yeah.
So,
I have meds for that, so it's fine.
I'm very happy for you.
Yeah.
The meds and the puppy.
What about you? How's the old baby going?
Things are good. We had a big weekend of firsts. This past weekend, we went to the movies for the first time.
So you were those people.
Went to the drive-in, so you may rescind your comment.
I will rescind said comment.
The only person who was bothered was the baby, and that was because we weren't at home. So
that
was also really fun.
A big mood. I can understand the baby.
Yeah. We went and saw Blue Beetle and the new Ninja Turtles movie, which honestly I had forgotten was coming out. I only went to go see Blue Beetle. But Mrs. Sunny was super pumped to see the new Ninja Turtles movie, and she enjoyed it. So it's a win, and we get to stay for both movies at the drive-in. So that's,
when you gotta start the little man's nerd journey on early,
No, for sure. Ninja Turtles and Blue Beetle. I mean,
yeah.
I actually really enjoyed Blue Beetle. We'll have to do a little fireside chat about that sometime. I think you'll like it. It's very Hispanic.
Yes.
It's
Uh,
super
I have
Hispanic.
heard others of my people refer to it as our Black Panther.
Yes, I would say yeah. And George Lopez was like, I mean, the movie was. I enjoyed the movie thoroughly, but George Lopez was the shining light in that movie. I don't.
As he was, I'm sure he was a shining light in that movie, just like he was the shining light on my TV at 2 a.m.
Pretty much. And then we also went to the pool for the first time with the little Sonny. Um, that was fun. He was vexed, confused because he was in the water, but also confused because he was not being bathed. So I don't know. I mean, I think he liked it. He didn't cry. So I think that's a win.
Yeah, it's, you know,
So,
so
but
it's
yeah,
a,
I mean, good time.
yeah.
Very good time.
I have seen pictures of the little cub, and I believe I told your wife from all the pictures that she's posted so far that I have seen you make every single one of those facial expressions.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Yeah,
So I think that proves that genetics play a huge part in your attitude. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see.
he is what I would have imagined you to be as a baby, attitude wise.
We actually look very similar.
Yeah.
I'll have the production team um, put up a side by side of us. And by the production team, I mean I'll probably just make a side by side and post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
But it sounds good to say the production team.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm speaking it into existence.
The editor will put it here-ish in the video if he's filling up to it later after some ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's good to be back. Today's episode will be um, about something that is really super important in society right now, and it's divisive, but also it brings people together. It's the one and only video games.
Oh.
They are literally divisive. Okay, no, I'll buy that. I'll buy that.
Uh,
That's gonna make a good clip. I'm just letting you know.
it's going. That's straight TikTok material.
So today we're gonna talk about some video games. I think we should actually start. I want to start like way back before we get into what's going on right now. I want to know the first video game that you remember playing consistently, and then I want to know what your favorite video game of all time is, and then we'll jump into the bigs that are happening right now at the time of recording. So,
Okay.
all right, go.
The first video game that I can remember playing consistently, there's two, but I know which one it is. So it's back when the N64 was out. My summers would
Mm-hmm,
be spent in Texas, and I'd be sitting there with my brother Nick, my cousin
mm-hmm,
Nick,
mm-hmm.
separate people.
Wait.
They're both named Nick.
Nick's. Okay,
Yeah.
no, I just wanted to make sure we're on the
Uh,
same page.
yeah. Now, my brother Nick, who's my older brother, my name's Christian, right? My cousin
Uh-huh.
Nick's little brother is named Christian.
Is there? I mean, where's the creativity here? I mean, are we
It's a
just?
Hispanic family. We only got so many names in the pocket.
Those aren't even Hispanic names.
Anyway. And we would sit around, and this was just to age us. This was back when Blockbuster was around, and we would always
Mm.
go and get Rampage because
Ooh,
the four of
dang,
us could,
dude.
or the three of us at least, could play Rampage
Mm-hmm.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just we would play that for hours. It was
Dang,
that,
dude.
and then I believe it was Streets of Rage, maybe. But Rampage was the one that definitely sticks out as like one of my earliest like video game console memories.
Okay.
As far as like you want to talk about like arcade, it was Night Stalkers is probably my earliest memory because the local
Ooh.
pizza parlor had a Night Stalkers cabinet.
What in the 1950s? Fucking.
So
Were there also pinball machines and milkshakes?
yes,
That sounds nice, actually.
that's a lot of fun memories.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, my dad liked it because it was within walking distance, so he could drink a pitcher of beer and not have to worry about driving us home.
Well, Greg.
Yeah,
Love Greg.
yeah, smart man. But yeah, that's my earliest video game memories. My favorite video game. I'm a big like single player RPG guy. You know,
Oh, those are
uh,
in right now.
yeah. My favorite one is still probably Fallout New Vegas.
Oh,
Uh, I replay it regularly. Uh,
mm,
it's the only video game tattoo I have is the new California Republic tattoo. You know,
mm.
NCR all the way.
Ah,
Uh,
so you're a fascist. Love that for you.
yeah, I
Mm.
mean, look at me. There's actually only one right choice in Fallout New Vegas, and that's nobody.
Yeah, I would say if you played the game, you can't
Yeah,
you can't fuck with the government and you can't fuck with Caesar. So
yeah. But um, yeah, it's that one, and then a very close second is Halo 2, just from all the memories. You
yeah,
know.
no, I get that. A lot of
So,
people would say that for sure.
what about you?
Um, so I think the game that I remember playing, like the earliest consistently played game, was probably Sonic 2 on the Sega Genesis. I distinctly recall us having a Sega Genesis. It actually might still be in my parents' garage. I'm not sure, but we play a lot of that game, and it was fun. And we used to play in the basement, and we had like I recall us having like a Super Nintendo that was broken, so I don't think we ever played that. I don't
Did you
even know
try
where it
blowing
came
in the
from.
cartridge?
The, it says on the cartridge specifically, "Do not blow into the cartridge." So naturally, I spit all my fucking child spit into the. Um, but yeah, so like we played. I remember us playing a lot of Sonic, and then, um, you know, our cousins kind of had game systems
Did
as
your
like the
cousins also
PlayStation Two
share your
came
name?
out. No, they don't because we're not Hispanic. I guess I don't know. It's nothing against the Hispanic community, just so we're clear. Um, but anyway, uh, I played. We played a lot of Battlefront Two, OG Battlefront Two, um, with one of my cousins, and that was, I mean, for anybody who's played the original Battlefront games, they know there's nothing like it, man.
Oh yeah.
And EA fucked it up super good. As far as my favorite game, um, I would have to say um, Mass Effect 2 is the game that I probably love the most and has made me feel feelings the most, for sure.
It's a really solid choice.
And it's really wild. I just kind of happened into the Mass Effect games. Someone gave me like a big stack of games on Xbox 360 they were getting rid of, and Mass Effect was in there. And I just played the first Mass Effect. And what's wild is if you play the first Mass Effect, it is clunky and kind of difficult, but it's such a good game that as soon as Mass Effect 2 came out, I was like, I gotta get it. And I mean, I was just blown away. So I
The
have countless hours into that for
the
sure.
first Mass Effect is one of those games that not necessarily the mechanics were bad, but where the story really helps like get you through
Hmm.
some of the mechanics of that game. It's just
Yeah,
really down
for
to good
sure.
writing. Um,
Um,
so my question for you for gaming before we move on into the meat of it, on one side about the Mexican naming thing, I have cousins whose names I don't actually know because they're only referred to by their nicknames, and I know other people can relate to this. Like, I have a cousin Fito and a cousin Chucky, and I have no idea what their real names are
but
because
Chucky is such a
I've
cool name.
I've never heard them spoken out loud my entire
I bet
life.
they don't know what their names are either.
But going back to what is a video game series that does not exist uh, that you wish they would like remaster or bring back?
Ooh,
That
that's a tough one.
yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, we've seen so many video games come and go. I mean, it sounds like we're like super old, but we were fairly close to the beginning of video games coming out, and to now be in like what is maybe the pinnacle of console video gaming. That's a hard question. Um, I kind of wish Bethesda would get their head out of their ass and like legitimately remaster Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas
Mm-hmm.
or Skyrim. I mean, you keep releasing Skyrim. Why not just actually fucking remaster it? Todd Howard, I'm fucking talking to you, you piece of
Oh
shit.
well, we will be bringing him up later.
Yes, we will. That's called foreshadowing.
Yeah.
um, yeah, man, that's. Oh, you know what? You know what? There's a game that we used to play. It's a multiplayer like shooter. It's called Time Splitters. I
Oh
had
yeah.
it on PlayStation 2, and we used to play it so much. And if I'm being honest, I don't even know how good the game was, but I just loved it so much, and it was so much fun playing with friends. If they could like give me a Time Splitters 3 or like, remake that or what, I don't know, whatever people do to make money, I don't know. Uh, that would be pretty dope. Be nice. What about you? You have a series in mind?
Yeah. So a video game that I used to play a lot on the original Xbox. Um, I'd have to like same thing. I can't remember how good it was, but I thought that its concept was really dope. And it's Crimson Skies. So if you don't
Oh,
remember
the
what
the
Crimson Sky
airplane
was,
game.
yeah, it was basically Twisted Metal
Yeah.
but in airplanes. But like
Yeah.
the story mode was actually like really good. It had like a really good story and it was a lot of fun.
Interesting.
And it did what a story mode should do in that game type of game where it got you like familiar with all the different planes because you had to fly them all
Hmm.
at some point. And then it's multiplayer, land connecting, uh, against three of your buddies was actually a lot of fun. And I think in the age of these like online shooters and stuff like that, like, do I think it would be another big hit? No, but I think it would be either nostalgic fun to bring it back or just retool it. Give us more customization. If
Mm.
Rocket League can be a thing, then why can't a customizable? I'm not hitting on Rocket, but I'm just saying if that can be a big thing, then why can't we do like a Crimson Skies in the same vein? I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I don't understand Rocket League, and maybe that's just my age, or I don't know. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
It does
Uh,
not seem fun to me.
and then
Sorry, that's a
I
little
just,
sidebar.
it's fine. And they don't need to remaster this other game, but Nintendo, I need you to look. I know just mentioning your name is getting your lawyers all itchy, but I just need you to listen to me.
You're gonna get us fucking shut down, man.
Yeah. Stop fucking blue balling and edging me and just give me the Golden Sun series on Switch. Okay? Keep talking about it. Keeps being rumored. Just give me the Golden Sun games on Switch so I can go back to sitting there on my Game Boy Advanced and playing one of the best RPGs on Game Boy Advanced, please.
Um, I have no idea what that is, but I too want them to just give it to us. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
The Grizz
it.
wants it. We need it.
Yes, it was one of the best like Final Fantasy style RPGs to be released on Game Boy Advanced, and
Okay.
it was a fun, great story. And they just won't give it to me. They keep having to emulate it, and I don't want to emulate it. I'm happy to pay for it again. If I can just
That's fair, man.
sit back on my couch with it on my TV and play it.
Oh man, the
That's
list of games that are just not around anymore is extensive. You
yeah.
know,
Some of
like
them
there's
deserve
so
it.
many good games.
Yeah.
Yes, some of them don't.
I think it just gets frustrating when, especially in the day of like online digital storefronts,
Hmm.
that like Nintendo, a lot of these publishers have the ability to put some of these old games out there just for us
And
to
they just don't.
play, and they just don't, especially when they own the rights to it, and they just don't. And
Yeah.
then that can get frustrating, um, but it is what it is, I guess. I just want to know that
Well,
feeling of going back to playing the original Pokemon again. It's like
oh
heroin. You get
god,
that first high, and you're just like trying to go
it's
back every single
never
time.
again, dude.
Yeah,
Never again. Yeah, Pokemon like red and green or
yeah.
red and blue, and then subsequently Pokemon Yellow.
Which was
I
the
mean,
best one
yeah, because it's like you get
because
everything. It
the
gives you
cartoon had
everything.
and the cartoon had been out, and you finally get to have Pikachu fall under the fat Pikachu too before he was
Oh,
body
dude.
shamed
Oh,
into
that's
being
true.
skinny.
Yeah, he's smaller now.
Yeah,
He used to be a really fat rat.
yeah.
So fucking
I don't know. It was just more. I just like that Pikachu more, man. The fucking
yeah,
that thick,
the
you know,
thick,
thick,
thick Pikachu.
Pika
Now
thick. You
that
know what I
we've
mean?
stop, please.
Now that
What?
we've rule 42'd our podcast. Uh,
Oh no! Don't Google Rule 42 if you don't know.
no, unless you're
Um,
really into Pokemon.
or a lot of things, honestly. um,
All right, let's move on
uh,
into what we're really here to talk about.
well, I was gonna say, speaking of Nintendo's podcast, um, so a big game that came out this year was Tears of the Kingdom.
Hmm.
I'll be honest, I did not play it because I did not play Breath of the Wild.
Uh,
Um,
that is
um,
understandable. The real reason I played Breath of the Wild is because we were deployed,
yep,
and I had nothing else to do. Not that Breath of the Wild isn't worth playing, but you know, if you're not a big like Nintendo Switch person or a big Zelda fan, I can understand why you wouldn't pick it up. Uh,
that's really what it boils down to.
yeah,
I have a Switch somewhere. I
uh,
don't know where,
games like
but I
that
have
I save for when I'm like traveling or on vacation or stuff like that. Um,
one.
but uh, I will say for Tears of the Kingdom, there's a lot of stuff about it on TikTok with all the building mechanics and stuff. It would
Mm-hmm.
have been, and this is I think where Nintendo can excel a lot of the time, being in such control of its properties. It would have been really easy for Nintendo to just phone it in and give us a Breath of the Wild 2. Exact same game, exact same map, some differences and just a new story, and said, here you go, right? Um, and a lot of people, including myself, were a little confused why it was taking so long for another one to come out. And they actually did a really good job of introducing this whole new mechanics and whole new way to like do your dungeons and stuff like that with this building mechanic, and introducing you to it, and the new elevated map where there's like dungeons and stuff in the sky.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
I don't think
it
it's going
sounds
to be.
extremely unique.
It is, and I'll give it to that. They could have just given us a literally a Breath of the Wild 2, and they didn't do that. They actually put effort into continuing the story and doing something new for the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we've seen them do that with stuff like Wind Waker and stuff too, or
Yep.
Jorah's Mask. Uh, so,
Yeah.
um, do I think it's going to be Game of the Year? No, because I'm pretty sure we'll talk about the game in a little bit that beat it out. But
Um. Yeah. Let's rewind a little bit because I'm not sure if we talked about this in previous podcasts, but Hogwarts Legacy.
oh yeah, we should
Um.
talk. We did talk about it. We didn't get super heavy into it though.
Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna talk video games that came out this year, um, well, they came out last year.
No, it came out this year.
Did it?
Hmm?
Okay. All right. So, um, I think on the surface, it was a really good game. Regardless of what you think about the uh, the drama behind J.K. Rowling and the what I'll call the extended Harry Potter universe, which is consists of J.K. Rowling making up facts and then tweeting them and then saying um,
Dumbledore
homophobic
was
and
gay.
transphobic things. So cool beans, whatever. That all that aside, at the end of the day, it's a video game. It's a video game that millions of people played. Um, I think that there was a lot of repetitiveness to it, but the nostalgia of being able to use a wand and cast spells and see creatures that we'd only read about in books uh, definitely carried it for a while. Do I think it's gonna be game of the year? No, absolutely not. But it was a fun game.
So I agree. It was repetitive, which is something I think we talked about in a past episode. Um, I think when you look at a game like Hogwarts Legacy, though, a lot of us our age and younger have really fond memories of Harry Potter, right? I
Right.
remember reading the first Harry Potter book and falling in love with it. I remember when I went to see the first movie in theaters and how much I loved it.
Yeah.
Um,
Midnight showing of
Midnight
movies.
showing, we were all dressed up, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but um, although there's criticism for how empty the world outside of Hogwarts could feel at times, the amount of attention to detail that went into Hogwarts Castle and its surrounding grounds was impressive.
Yeah.
It's more detail than you find in a lot of games in that small of an area. Um, the combat was fun,
The combat was fun. I did
which
enjoy it.
which I know was like a big concern for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and something that I want to get into a little bit more deeper though was like it is a game that got criticized for its mechanics before people actually got their hands on it and people were writing it off. And then
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why the fact that it was a good game took a lot of people by surprise and became kind of a big deal. A lot of people had written this game off, some because of the J.K. Rowling controversies, which if you didn't play
Right.
the game for those reasons, I completely understand. Uh, you know, if that's
Yeah.
your choice, but not playing a game isn't really going to do anything for any community.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
and then just people getting on the hate train early on, which we'll talk about a little bit more later on. But
Yeah.
uh, it was a fun game, but that's probably its downside is repetitiveness. And the only reason that I'm gonna boot it up ever again is when they finally release that.
Fucking Quidditch, bro.
Yeah, that and that one secret, not secret, but exclusive mission for PlayStation is supposed to come out February of 24 for like everybody else. And
Oh,
the completionist in me is not going to be able to rest until I do that once it comes out. But that's really the only reason
fair
I'm going
enough.
to do it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
for
that
sure.
was a fun little romp through the early Harry Potter universe. I thought it had a good story too. I mean,
Agreed.
you know,
Um, so yeah, we just kind of covered that a little bit. Moving forward into the rest of the year, we just had a major release and followed by the early access or the pre-release for another major game. And those two games are Baldur's Gate and Starfield. Um, Lots of controversy around both.
yep,
Um, so let's hop into that
yeah. I
a
think
little
those
bit.
two games too show a good kind of duality of where like the video game industry is at right now. So
Mm-hmm.
let's start with Baldur's Gate 3 because that game's been out. We both played the early access and what came out after the early access. You've played it
Yep.
far more than I have. Uh,
Yeah, almost 100 hours worth, but
yeah,
it's neither here nor there.
no, well, I've been taking a month off from school, so I'll be able to get some quality game time in. But
Okay.
Baldur's Gate 3 came out, a game that I forgot was coming out until
Mm-hmm.
you got the
Yeah.
early access and reminded me.
Well, it's announced in 2019,
Yeah,
that it was going to come out. So, um, I think I see Hank slinking around in the background
yeah,
there.
yeah. That was Hank. I'm not sure what he's doing, but chewing up my
It's
carpet or something.
never a good sign when the puppy is quiet.
No, well, he was taking a nap, but yeah.
So yeah, I we both played quite a bit of um
Hey,
quite a
he
bit.
wants outside. Hold on a second.
Okay.
I gotta let those were the bells of open.
Yes.
All right, so continue.
Um, so yeah, Baldur's Gate was announced in 2019. Early access started in 2020, I believe. And the developers, Larian Studios, has been working tirelessly on it uh, essentially since then. And what we got when it dropped officially um, was a really, really polished and fun game, especially for the first 2/3 of the game, which obviously had the most like dealings. So in early access, you were only able to access um, parts of Act One, a large part of Act One, but still less than the full Act One, I guess. And so Larian Studios got a lot of feedback from that. And so when the game dropped officially, it was, I mean, Act One was literal gold, man. I mean, Act One of this game was probably better than most AAA game drops in the past like 5-10 years.
Yeah, and we know how fickle gamers can be, how quick to
Yes.
judge gamers can be, right?
Yes.
So the fact that since this game has officially dropped, you have not heard anything negative really about the game. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
Um,
there's been some, but it's mostly praise. It's mostly people impressed with how
mhm.
polished this game is. Nothing's going to be perfect. You could find flaws in anything, but this game
Yeah.
came, especially for the size of the studio that released it, is
Yeah.
about as polished as you can get for a video game of this size too. Because it's not a short game.
No, it's not. I, like I said, have 100 hours in, and I am just now at the end of Act Two in my first playthrough, and um, I have a lot of time in there, a lot of slop time where the game has been left sitting because of things that I had to go do, or I didn't want to close it and forget where I was, or forget what I was doing. So I would say probably like maybe 15 to 20 of those hours are like the game just kind of sitting and not really anything going on. But as far as like actual game time, I would say probably well over 80 hours.
Mm.
Um, so um, yeah, I mean the I've heard a lot of praise about it. Obviously, there are things that some people don't like. I saw a tweet that said, um, um, Baldur's Gate asked me what I identify as, and that made me turn the game off. So obviously, there's a certain demographic of people who are not thrilled about
Uh,
stuff, and that's fine. Like
I mean,
whatever,
if you want to
man.
be a soft little snowflake, then sure.
It's
The
very
game,
convenient.
the the game is asking what you want to be called, so that you have that. So this was something I was going to bring up for the Starfield discussion because people are complaining about the same thing with Starfield, and the counter
Hmm.
argument to that, which is a very solid counter argument, is it leads to more immersion. Right? Do we
Yeah.
want to go back to Skyrim where you're only being referred to as they them? Because that's literally how Skyrim refers to you
You
as
were
the player
non-binary in
character.
Skyrim, so
Or if you are a dude who's trying to play the game as a dude and you want to be called he, him, right? It's just asking you. It's not, it's, you are, it'd be the
yeah.
same thing if we were sitting there playing a game of D&D and you were one of
Hmm.
those dudes that showed up and you're like, hey, I'm playing a female character. Cool. You want me to refer to as she, her then? Because that's what your character is. That's all the
Yeah.
game is asking you. But
Super easy, man.
everything's gotta, like I said, people gotta hate. I know I'm a hater, but fuck man.
That TikTok you sent me. There's nothing more satisfying than being a hater.
Yeah. Uh,
um,
but
yeah. So some of the criticism, legitimate criticism I've seen is that people are finding more bugs towards the latter end of the game, and a big part of that is just that I think it's twofold, right? With any game, you're gonna see bugs at some point. I think the reason we're seeing that is because comparatively to the beginning of the game, there's almost no bugs. I mean almost nothing in terms of bugs. And this is a massive fucking game with a lot of moving parts and variations and things like that. Um, it's a little wild how little there is going on in terms of bugs in this game. I mean, we look at something like like Cyberpunk, right? When Cyberpunk dropped, the bugs were fucking. I mean, we're talking game breaking bugs,
Yeah, the game was damn near unplayable.
right? Compared to this, where you have almost no bugs in the first act, almost no bugs in the second act, um, at least very few in the second act. Yeah, if you have a handful of reoccurring and kind of annoying bugs in your third act, then yeah, it's going to be way more noticeable, right? Um, and I think a reason for that is the natural progression of a game, but also, people didn't really get their hands on that third act until the game came out. So, it's I don't know. I think it's fine. I think that's the biggest complaint that I've heard people have about the game. And I mean, the game is streaming. It's really easy and fun to stream, even if you want to just get into streaming. I mean, this is the perfect game for that. Plus, if you like D&D, you've always wanted to get into D&D, or you don't have a DM to do games for you or whatever. This is a perfect game for that. So, I mean, I love the game personally.
Um, the game is a gateway drug into D&D, so be careful.
Too late. I'm already on that drug,
Yeah.
baby.
So the other thing about Baldur's Gate is it's not a good sign for the video game industry as a whole when the AAA studios have to come together and come out and say, "Hey, Baldur's Gate 3 cannot be the gamers' new expectations for games that are coming out."
They were like, "Don't get your fucking hopes
Yeah,
up. This is nothing like anything we're ever gonna release for you."
yeah. You see this? You see how nice this is? Uh, yeah, we don't do that, and it's
It'll never be that.
which is wild to me because
Yeah,
could you imagine like Sony coming out with the movie that was so good and then Disney immediately come behind and being like, hey, we're never going to make a movie that is that good, so lower your expectations for the rest of your life.
yeah.
Like,
That's
could you imagine
wild,
that
man.
happening in any other segment of the entertainment industry?
They
Could
told them
you
themselves.
Yeah, could you imagine Stephen King coming out and telling you, "Hey, I know, you know, what's the dude who wrote, you know, fucking whatever, J.K. Rowling, right? I know she wrote this amazing book. I'm never going to write anything that good, so don't expect that from any other writer." Not saying that's a realistic thing to happen, but I'm just saying, like, could you
Uh,
imagine? Could you imagine anywhere, any other segment of the entertainment industry
no, man. They
coming out and
basically
saying
said
that? Like,
you should be happy with the mediocrity that we're gonna provide to you,
yeah, and
and it's not gonna change.
I mean, it's fear, you know.
Yeah, dude.
But
If
yeah,
Larian Studios drops another game, the game industry's done for,
I know,
man.
bro. But that's but I what it goes other thing that I think it shows that hasn't been talked about is Larian Studios. Like, this is they don't
It's
make
a small studio.
it's a small studio. They
It's a
don't make
very
a lot
small
of
studio.
games. All
Yeah.
their effort went into Baldur's Gate, and when you look at how a lot of video games are being made today, right?
Hmm.
It's these big, we're seeing it happen in the movie industry too. It's literally like a handful of companies that own all these other smaller gaming studios,
Hmm.
because they're just trying to churn out as much as possible, as much as possible, as much as possible. We're getting
Quantity over
a brand
quality,
new
dude.
Call of Duty every year.
Okay, you
um
will not talk shit about my favorite shooter ever. I
yes,
don't
I
know.
will.
I just
Anyway,
can't. I
it just
can't.
but my point is, right, like they were doing with Assassin's Creed, and the quality was just getting worse and worse for a while.
Yeah.
um it And now you have this small studio, um that's making one game and it's great. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you granted, it was a much simpler game, but there's another game that got a lot of praise for how much like love and detail it got, and that was Stray. Um,
Mm.
and that was also made by a really small studio that put a lot of like love and detail into it.
Yeah,
And so I think that's what we're going to be left with is some small studios putting out these really well polished games, but we're only going to get those, every 5-6 years because that's
it
how
takes
long it
time.
takes them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so the other big not the other big, but the big AAA release that's happening this month, it's going to happen on the 5th. It's been out in early access. Is Starfield,
Mm-hmm.
uh, bringing us back around to old Todd Howard. So
Fuck you, Todd Howard.
yeah,
Fuck you. I hope this
so
gets to him. It
yeah,
probably won't. He doesn't know I
uh,
exist.
yeah. I'm sure whenever we set up a Patreon, he'll be one of our first subscribers. Anyway, so Starfield, right? It's made by Bethesda. So for those of you who don't know,
Hmm.
they made Skyrim for every console in existence multiple times over.
I think they would have
Um,
made it for Sega Genesis if they could have.
yeah, I'm sure there is some nerd at Bethesda working on it right now with the 20 cartridges it's going to take, if not more. Uh, Switch cartridges. uh, and then fuck man, I'm surprised that it hasn't come out on a Tesla yet. Although I say that, and somebody's probably already done it. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh, and
That'd be kind of
then
cool, though.
they've also sure they also made Fallout. Um,
Ugh.
So this is supposed to be their big
Yeah, they made
foray.
Fallout 76 too, just so we're clear.
That's what I was going to get to here in a second.
Yeah.
So, so this is supposed to be Bethesda, formula that we all know and mostly love, but in space, right?
I could be a space pirate.
Yeah. So, I don't know how much you've been following Starfield and its progress.
So I get all my news from TikTok. Um
As we all do.
um I'll be honest, I was super skeptical from Jump Street. The announcement of the game, at first I was like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. But then I started thinking and I was like, Fallout 4 was just okay. Um as far as games go. I mean it looked it looked better than Fallout New Vegas. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Um,
As
but
long
as
as another
far as
colony didn't need your help.
oh my god, dude,
Settlement.
settlements,
Yeah.
sir, a settlement needs your help. They will burn. Um, as far as gameplay, there was nothing like fucking revolutionary at all. I mean, and how long had it been since Fallout New Vegas? It'd been like 10 years, right, or something like that.
It had been,
Um,
yeah.
and
They
there was
haven't.
nothing different.
So, and that's why I say the formula went on, because when you look at between all of the, the Elder Scrolls game, the mechanics really
Hmm.
haven't changed at all.
Hmm.
Uh, Ever since Fallout 3, the Fallout mechanics haven't really changed at all.
And just for those who don't know, Fallout 2 was a top down.
Yeah, it was a top down
Um,
like survival game.
see, it was yeah, survival RPG. And so Fallout 3 was a major departure from that. And I honestly don't even did Bethesda also do. I don't think they did the
No,
first two
that was I
Fallout
can't
games.
remember what game studio made those, but Bethesda got the Fallout properties when they made Fallout 3.
Yeah,
The whole saga behind 76 is they had been trying to make a Fallout MMORPG for decades.
and they failed
Yeah,
because it was terrible when it
uh,
came out. Now I've heard good things about it now, but I don't
they
like
had to.
online
Yeah, I don't.
RPGs.
It's not my thing, but they had to go back and fix a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on the fence with the whole
Hmm.
Starfield stuff. So did Todd Howard come out and kind of overpromise and oversell the game? Yeah, he did. Right. There's 9,000 planets or whatever it is, and you can explore all of them uh,
Hmm.
that aren't gas giants, and
Someone
Um,
was really mad that they couldn't land on a gas giant.
Somebody doesn't understand science, and that same person
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, "Well, they could have put a floating city. They didn't promise you that, so I don't know why you're upset that that doesn't exist." Uh,
Shut up,
yeah.
bitch.
So, but that's what I mean, right? Is there is some legitimate criticisms of overselling, but then some of the criticisms are just dumb, right? So
Mm,
some people are upset that you can't walk around the whole planet, and the way that they described the game to you, it did sound like you were going to be able to do that.
yeah,
However,
I distinctly recall that
yeah,
being part
walking
of the
from one
conversation.
point to another on one planet takes 45 minutes. Um,
Ooh, I
and
don't want to
that
do that.
and that is longer than it took to walk the entire map of Fallout 4. So the map's already bigger. I haven't played the
Yeah,
game. All the things that we are seeing are most of it is from that leak that happened.
yeah.
Uh, and then, there's some other um, early access stuff that we're seeing. Um, but playing devil's advocate and to give Bethesda the benefit of the doubt, I can understand not wanting to make that entire planet playable if you can't fill that entire planet with content.
Sure. I mean, people don't understand. Like, filling a planet with content is like, I mean, you're talking about something that is, um, that would be the undertaking for that is insane. I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking about building everything that you can see and touch on the planet. Um, I mean, interaction coding for interaction. Um, and then on top of that, God forbid you make a planet that looks nice but there's nothing in it. Oh, there would be
That's what
riots in the
happened. Yeah,
streets.
that's what happened to the original No Man's Sky before they
Yeah.
came out with a bunch of patches and stuff over the years.
Hmm.
So I'm not saying that this is gonna be a good game because I don't know. I haven't played it, right?
Yeah.
But it's very obvious that once the online community decided we didn't like this game,
Yeah.
that we were just decided that we didn't like this game and we were going to hate on it without right because so like we were talking about with Baldur's Gate 3, just from the little bit that first mission that you play in Baldur's Gate 3 from the early access to
Hmm.
what it is when the
So
actual game
different.
came out, it's so different, and the
They
amount of
changed it.
content that they added as far as characters and subclasses and all that stuff changed
Yeah.
a lot. They added so much more just between that short period from the end of the early access to when the game came out. Do I think there's going to be that big of a jump for Starfield?
Bethesda?
No,
No.
but to like some of the complaints that you're seeing is some of those where it's like, well, I could see that not like them throwing explosives into the water and the water not reacting when it explodes, right? I can kind of see that like not being a thing in the early access, but maybe it is when the actual game comes out. My whole point being, let's wait till the official drop and see what it's actually like instead of
Sure.
deciding that we hate this game. I think that's my big problem with it. And because a lot of the legitimate criticism, for some reason, is always paired along with the, and then I have to tell them what my pronouns are, and so it's just like,
I don't know. I mean, like, I already decided that I'm probably not gonna get the game until later. Um, I mean, I have 5 characters on Baldur's Gate already. Um, the replayability of that game is, I think, astronomical. In my mind, so I don't really have a need to play Starfield. I will at some point, but I don't think that it will be anytime soon. So,
well, and you got to think, right? So, like, Starfield kind of has to be amazing, right? Because we got Baldur's Gate 3 last month. At the end of this month is when we're supposed to get the only DLC for Cyberpunk,
oh my god, I can't wait.
which CD Projekt Red has come and pretty much fixed. And it's a really fun game now. And a lot of people, because of
Yeah.
the anime, which was a great piece of marketing,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
came
Mm-hmm.
back and played Cyberpunk. So a lot of people and a lot of the buzz that you're hearing, unfortunately for Bethesda, is this game isn't as polished as we want it to be. And you're starting to see where it's a Bethesda game is kind of no longer like an adequate excuse anymore for a lot of
Well,
gamers. Not when we have the amount of content available to us.
so funny enough, so the PlayStation version of Baldur's Gate drops tomorrow, 2 days from now. 2 days from now, on the 6th, which was the original date for the whole game to drop. So it's going to be PC and PS5. We're going to drop together. Whole other controversy with Xbox, um, and that's fine. It's a different conversation. And honestly, I think the argument is there to wait to drop it, um, and that's a different conversation, like I said. But a lot of people, the buzz on the web was that Baldur's Gate moved back a month their release, or slid it to the left. What's the, I don't know, they basically they planned it to release it a month early, and the conversation was that they didn't want to compete with Starfield. And honestly, I think they did Starfield a favor, because if Baldur's Gate and Starfield had dropped at the same time, I don't see a lot of people playing Baldur's Gate. Now, your Xbox guys, definitely, right? Um, Baldur's Gate isn't dropping on Xbox. Starfield is Xbox exclusive, right? Am I tripping?
Yeah, it's Xbox and
It
PC.
is. So, yeah, I mean, there's a demographic there of individuals who are left out of one game and very obviously have access to the other. So, yeah, but like for me with a PC, if it's a question of am I buying Starfield or am I buying Baldur's Gate 3, um, that's a no fucking brainer, man. And if you're a gamer, regardless of how you feel about turn-based gameplay, I think Baldur's Gate is a game that you should definitely check out. I think it's the first game that I've bought um, in recent history that I felt the price tag was worth what I paid for.
I'd agree with that, and yeah, I think Starfield kind of needs to do better than what Bethesda has done in the past,
Mm-hmm.
um, for people to give it a chance. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as bad as Cyberpunk was when it released. I think
No,
it's
but I
going to
mean
be your. I
bugs
think it's
wise,
going
no.
to. No, I think it's going to be your typical Bethesda release. I just question if in today's day and age, when the big conversation is why do we keep getting these unfinished games, if it's going to be enough. I think it's fine if it undersells in what it promised a little bit, right? If it's a fun
Mm-hmm.
game, people will
Right.
get over that. But if it's your typical Bethesda release, I don't know after Baldur's Gate releasing how well it's going to do.
Yeah,
And then with
I
Phantom
agree.
Pain or whatever the Cyberpunk
Fan-
DLC is,
Phantom Liberty
Phantom
with
Liberty,
Idris Elba.
yeah, uh, I'm very positive CD Projekt Red learned their lesson, and this isn't going to be a buggy mess when it comes out.
Oh no, buddy. I think. Well, see, again, we're talking about another very relatively small studio.
Yeah, well, and this
Um,
is the only DLC they're releasing, and I think it's so that they can make sure it's solid.
yeah, I mean, I'm pumped. I'm gonna stop playing Baldur's Gate to play
Yeah.
Phantom Liberty.
Um. So really, I got to go let Hank in really
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
But yeah, this was supposed to be the big Bethesda release, because they haven't released a new IP in decades.
Yeah, and we
And
thought we were getting like the big fucking,
um,
like what we've been waiting for. Elder
yeah,
Scrolls 6. Todd Howard, I'm talking to
yeah,
you, fucking
uh,
bitch.
and there's some interesting stuff about the game. We've shared some of the ship building stuff, and if and when I do get the game, you're damn right I'm building the Bebop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've also seen some people build the Firefly, so there is promise in it. I feel like if it doesn't suck as a game and it just undersold what it's going to deliver, it might be one of those slow burns that like a year from now everybody's like, hey, Starfield's actually a lot of fun and we're all playing it. I don't think it's going to be the big hot seller this month.
So, from what I've seen of the game, it reminds me of Outer Worlds. Um, except Outer Worlds was better.
That's what I was. Outer Worlds was a really fun game. Uh,
Yeah.
And if another studio is going to do the Fallout in space better than Bethesda,
I
it's
think
kind of a bad sign.
it's just frustrating because um, okay, one of the biggest letdowns of all time for me in terms of video gaming was Battlefront being taken over, the IP for Battlefront being taken over uh, by EA, and not just being taken over by EA, but what EA released once they took it over um, was essentially a reskin of the bare bones Battlefield 4. Um,
He's not going back outside. He can.
yeah, but he's gonna keep bringing them
I
back.
know.
um, and so that game was taken over by a AAA studio. Battlefront's the so there were two Battlefront games that came out
Mhm.
from the we call them the OG Battlefronts. The third one was in production, I believe, with LucasArts. In production, I mean, there was like a preview, there was leaks, there was like, the whole shebang, and we were pumped. There was so much stuff coming. They were building on the blocks that they already had, and then EA took over, and they gave us the shittiest fucking low effort piece of shit video game I think I've ever played, and I was so mad when I spent money on that.
It's just gonna be there.
I know it's fine. It was so mad that I spent money on that because they gave us basic skins, they gave us basic weapons, they gave us basic fucking um, like maps. It was just so fucking bad,
Yeah,
dude, and
well,
had the
it's
audacity to charge us $60 for the game.
and then they didn't understand why we were upset. And it was like, hey man, in the OG Battlefront 2, I was hopping in ships and like
Yeah, man.
conducting like air raids and stuff. And here
Oh, dude.
you're telling me that I'm lucky that I can at some point in the match hopefully unlock Luke Skywalker.
Well, in the first Battlefront, I don't think you could unlock heroes.
No, you couldn't. I don't
It
think. But
wasn't until
still,
the new
yeah,
Battlefront 2, which is the same for the original. So the original Battlefront, there were no heroes. You were only playing soldiers, which was fun,
yeah,
And then they added you could be. They had like a plethora of Jedi. They had like everyone, and you were like, oh, this is kind of cool too.
yeah.
I really like
I
this.
just I just loved it being the roly poly droid rolling around.
Yeah, Droidicas, dude. Droidicas are fucking wild, bro.
Yeah.
Um,
But I agree. And that was like it I just want I love sci-fi. Sci-fi is my favorite genre.
yeah,
And I want a sci-fi game that I can be really excited about. Outer Worlds was a fun like
it was. It was a little
uh
romp through the fucking
yeah,
stars, dude.
yeah,
Hell
it was a
yeah.
lot of fun. And you could just pare down. I know. He's going fucking ham right now.
I love it. It brings
Yeah.
a personality to our podcast. I'm
Yeah,
okay with it.
he's
Thanks for your
17.
contribution, Hank.
Yeah, he's 17 weeks old, man. If it squeaks,
Yeah.
he's
He's
gonna
like, man,
squeak
this
it to
thing
death.
squeaks. I'm gonna bite the fuck out of this thing,
Yeah,
dude.
my dumb ass went to Walmart and bought everything that squeaks for him. So
Oh no, dude, don't get anything with fuzz in it. This is a sidebar. This is for everyone. If you have a dog that tears things up, do not get shit with fuzz in it because he will be cleaning up fuzz, and it'll be like random. It'll be
yeah,
random as fuck, Like, yeah, chilling on the couch. Next thing you know, it looks like a fucking pillow exploded.
yeah.
Love
I
that.
did get him. It's like a cactus. I call him Senor Poke. That like apparently if he tears it up, there's like another secret toy inside.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah.
That's cool.
So if he doesn't tear it up, I will just to see what's in there at some point.
That's fair. I'm
Yeah,
sure he'll tear it up.
yeah.
Anyway, back to what
And,
we were saying.
yeah. So back to video games. So I just Starfield. It sucks. It's a Bethesda game, and it feels like it's not going to quite be. Well, I hope it's better. I hope it's better than we're all expecting. I really do. I just don't think. I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I just don't think it's gonna.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to get lost in the sea of what's came out and what is coming out.
I think Bethesda did what they often do and what other AAA studios do is they get people hyped for a game and then they release it, and we inevitably find out that their their um, their game creators were underpaid, overworked, um, unrealistic deadlines were set, and it just illustrates the fact that you can't release a good game in a year. You need to take the time and the effort. Really, it seems like no matter how many people are working on something, it takes time. And I think that gamers have said in the past that they're okay with game studios taking their time. They're okay with game studios waiting a couple years for games to come out. We don't need a new Assassin's Creed every year. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was cool and interesting, and what was the one before that? Origins was a departure from the norm, and we were like, "Oh, this is kind of neat." I don't really feel like an assassin anymore, but we're going with origin stories. Okay, that makes sense. And then Odyssey came out, and it's like, this game is dope, but this is not an assassin game.
Yeah,
Um, and
and
then
then
we
they
just
came out
kept
with
going.
they came out with Valhalla, and I remember I got Valhalla.
I
I
didn't finish
played
the game.
about I played
I
about
played
20
like,
I played about
yeah,
20 minutes of it, saw the map size and went, "Nah."
yeah, man, yeah.
Cuz
I don't need an open world game to be an assassin.
yeah. The peak of Assassin's Creed was when I was
Well, we
in a
all
ship
know. We all know what
singing
the peak of Assassin's
singing
Creed is.
singing shanties, but and just being a pirate, which the only thing that might save Starfield is apparently you can be a space pirate, and that better be dope, or the game is going to be ruined and terrible.
Um,
I better be
yeah,
able
I
to
mean,
board some goddamn ships.
so okay, one, I'm gonna address a couple points there. One, I love Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I don't think it was the peak in terms of being an assassin. I think it was the peak of Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah,
In terms of peak assassin, I would say like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was like
that's that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
pretty up there. Second, I have seen videos of people boarding ships as a pirate in Starfield. So there is hope there. So for all you out there who are wondering, is it worth it for me? Space piracy is maybe a selling point for me in terms of buying this game. Right now, no, but eventually, yes. So what have we covered? Assassin's Creed peaked with Brotherhood, and space piracy is a thing, and I think that we all want to be pirates of some sort. Um, so,
just like Monkey D. Luffy, go watch live action One Piece.
oh yeah, speaking of that, um, obviously again departure from video games, but I'm gonna watch a bunch of live action anime shows, and we're gonna fucking talk about that shit because
I'm fine. I'm willing to watch some Drudge with you. Uh,
uh, there's some good content there. Because I mean, Cowboy Bebop is your favorite anime of all time, and I heard about the live action. Yeah, the
I
face he's
watched it.
making
I hated it.
is it's a gross face.
We'll talk
Gross
about
face.
why though, because I have legitimate reasons other than
Sure. We are
I'm
not a
okay with
podcast of people who are fake outraged. Our
no.
outrage is real
My
and
outrage with
legitimate.
the Cowboy Bebop live action, which we'll touch on. I won't touch on it too much, but it has more to do with the potential that was there and that you could see in every episode, and that they just whiffed. And
Mm,
something where the One
mm,
Piece live action, for the most part, hit as good as you could while
mm.
trying to keep the same campiness of that anime, but also making it palatable in a live action format. I think they did really well.
Cool. I mean,
So
I'm looking forward to once I finish my my spy shows.
yeah, I mean, we
I gotta
all
watch.
things we got to
You
get
know,
through.
yeah.
I
So
know,
that
bud.
you got movies to watch.
Yeah,
Um, where we got stuff on the way. Season two, I think. Sorry, season two, air quotes.
air quotes.
Uh, is definitely a pop culture centric season. Video
Yes,
games is good because we get to
production
talk about
values
some
up.
stuff. Yeah. Yes, our production team has invested, and I think things are going to get better. I'm looking forward to that. We unfortunately lost. Snowy in a snow related accident for obvious reasons. Um, so I mean, he might be back at some point.
It turns
Um,
out that polar bears are not great at snowmobiling.
yeah, he signed the waiver though, so I mean, that throttle is very touchy.
Yeah, when you got them big old mitts, not a lot of dexterity.
I mean, the largest land carnivore of all time, not all time, but largest land carnivore alive right now. I mean, I think it's a feat unto itself that he was even able to sign the waiver. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to all the stuff we're going to be putting out. It's that Hollywood Hank.
It is.
Whatever I was saying is unimportant. Hank is now on the screen, and he is. Oh, he's sniffing. He's sniffing. Put the headphones on. I want to talk to Hank. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Oh, okay. You'll meet him, I'm sure.
Yeah. So this has been a good episode. I would like to let's consolidate some points. We have a lot of nostalgia about video games, and we'd love to talk about it with you, the listener, sometime. You'll be able to hit us up on Instagram at
TikTok.
the Barely Coherent Podcast, at the TikTok of the same name. I'm gonna start adding random people to our Discord and forcing them to leave if they don't want to talk about things. So we want to hear from you. We want to talk about it. We want to hear about your favorite video games. We want to hear about what you're looking forward to, what you hated, all that stuff, right? Two, we've established that AAA studios are afraid of what Larian Studios has done, and unfortunately, I don't think that it will be the norm going forward. But hopefully, somewhere out there are studios that are saying we have to compete with that. I want to compete with that. We can compete with that, and we'll see some better games because for gamers, it's a big deal. When we know that studios put time and effort into their games. And the last thing that we learned is that Hollywood Hank will squeak the fuck out of anything, and you should probably get rid of those fucking bells on your doors because he's gonna ring them whether he has to go out or not.
Yeah, he'll rip them off if I'm not paying attention to him. He gets that upset sometimes.
Oh, see, our outrage is never fake here.
Yeah,
never. This has been the Barely Coherent Podcast. We are happy that we got to hang out with you, and we look forward to hanging out with you again.
Bye.
Bye.